Good morning. So this video is about the power of our words, but more specifically, not to complain. Not to complain. So this is based on the book of Wisdom by Solomon, and you can find this book in King James Version 1600s, around there, 1660 something. Usually PDF available online, or a Catholic Bible. So this is based on let me look at my notes. Chapter 1, verse 11. And the Bible verse says that it's not good to complain. Okay, like, listen. No one here is like without fault. Okay, I'm just letting you guys know what I kind of learned today. And even though we all know that, right? The power of our words, right? We all know that, that our tongue is restless, right? And, it could say all kinds of bad stuff. We know that from biblical teaching. Yes, there's power in our tongue. We know that. But when I was reading the book of Wisdom, to me, it gave me a little light, more of a little light, I guess, because it says that complaining does us no good, right? So that means there's a consequence, does us no good. So nothing comes good of complaining, right? And also it says to not engage in bitter talk. And that reminded me of when Moses was leading the Israelites out of Egypt. The Lord told him to tap on the rock to get water, and he, struck the rock, and in the Bible it says that he did that because he was just so bitter that he couldn't stop talking. He couldn't stop talking. And that was a symptom of his bitterness. And when I was reading this Bible verse and I remembered about Moses, I was all like, oh wow. I'm like, all right, we need to rein it in here. We need to rein it in. And the Bible does say, it's pleasing to the Lord to have a woman, not be silent, but to practice withholding unnecessary words type of thing. And that goes for anyone, right? Because if there is power, and the Bible says there is, so if we are Christians and we believe the Bible, then we believe there is power, right, in our words, in our tongue, right, life and death. Then we will think twice about complaining. And the Lord knows that I've also complained, okay? That's why I'm doing this video right now, letting you guys all know. All right, but when I was reading the book of Wisdom, to me, it's like I needed that verse. I needed that verse to show me like it's no good. And of course, that's not to say that because it reminds me of the book of Job, like how Job was so troubled and he was talking to his friends and he just needed to let it out, right? All right, that's different when you're letting it out and you're going through something. But if you're repeating yourself the same thing over and over and over and over, and you're just complaining and you do not want to change either, an actual thing that you're doing or your environment or whatever it is that you're complaining about, and you're not wanting change or seeking that change, then you know what I mean? There's no purpose to it. Of course, if you're like in the book of Job, right, and he had everything taken away from him, he was more letting everything out, right? It was so much for him going on at one time. But there comes to a point where we are not just letting it out. Now we're just complaining. And with that comes taking away our own peace and the peace of people around us, right? And also what that does, it kind of like tarnishes our friendships in a way where, you know, there becomes a pattern where if all in the friendship, if all you're doing is complaining, right, then it's not going to be the healthiest. So I do put in that discernment of the book of Job, that yes, in those situations, of course, complain, because you know you need to get it out. But what I was more like talking about was like in the book of Wisdom, when it talked about complaining does no good, meaning like you are not doing anything about it, and it's just more like a pattern. You're just doing it just to do it, and there's no point to it. And again, another little discernment piece in there, sometimes we do need to repeat ourselves to take action. And again, that's okay. But how I said earlier, it all depends if you repeating yourself or you complaining, are you mentally preparing to do the things that you need to do, or are you complaining to, you know, I don't know, get empathy from someone, or I don't know, be the victim or something. You know what I mean? Only you would know. Only because everyone knows, you know, their own heart and what their intentions are. So also that disclaimer. Well, anyways, I wanted to do this kind of quick video and just talking about the power of our, you know, words, right? And kind of try not to complain so much. And I'm talking really to me, but I'm just sharing it with you guys because it's important to also to practice the virtue of trying to be silent, right? Be silent. But that doesn't mean being silent all the time, okay? There's a time and place. All right. Hope you guys have an amazing day, and I love you guys. Bye.